everyone, it's Jennifer from A Country Life, and today I have a homeschool video for you. I'm going to focus on sharing what I use to homeschool Joseph. He is our 9-year-old son who has Down syndrome, and he's been homeschooled the whole time. He is part of a virtual program, so he does go to a school on Fridays. But I'm going to share in this video today all of, see it back there, all of the materials that I have used for him for homeschooling this last school year. He is really working at probably a kindergarten, first grade kind of level, even though he's 9 years old. It actually works out really well because if you've been following some of my videos, you also know that we have a 6-year-old Peter and a 4-year-old Maria, and so I can just kind of lump them all together and we do lots of school together, and it works out really, really great. So let's just get on with this. I'm going to try not to give you too much of a review of every single item because that's just going to get to be too long, but I'm just going to give you a brief look at what it is that I'm using, why I like it, and just maybe a quick little look at that particular thing. So let's start with reading, because reading is really the building block of everything else. I use All About Reading, and I've used this with Joseph since the beginning. He actually went through the he actually went through the pre-K program where they learn all their letters and everything, and this bag is kind of a mess because I actually have both Joseph and Peter using this the same level. He is currently using All About Reading Level 1. We are over halfway done. I am hoping that this next school year here, well before Christmas, we should get this finished up. We've actually been doing just a few lessons this summer, which has been kind of, which is just giving us that much more forward momentum. I have 2 detailed videos where I share how I use All About Reading with Joseph, and so I kind of do a little bit more of a review of it, and I think how I use it, and then another video I actually show us doing a lesson. So I will pop a card up here so that you can refer to that if you'd like to. I will also put links in the description box to all my other homeschool videos. A few quick things about All About Reading. I do like that All About Reading has kind of a scripted mode to it. It just kind of takes you through incrementally. I do really like that. I've done lots of other reading programs with my kids, and this is the one that I just kind of keep coming back to year after year. The other thing that I do a lot of is I really like these beginning to read book. It is by Margaret Hillert, and I use these for sight word recognition. These books are excellent, especially with Joseph, because with him having Down syndrome, I've kind of found over the years that he's really good at memorizing, and he's really good at sight types of things. Okay, so he has all these words memorized. I mean, he can read this book forward, backwards, inside out, but give him something more phonics based, like the books that come with All About Reading, and those, they're quite painful to have to sit through because it takes us a long, long time. We do it, but it's painful. I really like these. I have a video about these books, and I will link a card up there someplace to that video as well. Moving on to handwriting. I have been using Handwriting Without Tears with Joseph, and I really like this program. I originally had gotten the entire teacher manual and all of that. I did actually use a little bit of the teacher manual, so it was helpful in the very beginning, but now it's not so helpful anymore. We just kind of know the routine. He is past using the blocks, but I just thought I'd show them to you. Maria still uses these, and it's just a way to build letters. So big line, little line, where's more little lines? Little line, and there you have a capital E. This was just a super tactile way of learning the alphabet, learning the shapes of the letters and everything, and that worked really well. I really like Handwriting Without Tears. We trace the letter A, we talk about the big line, little line. We do have a chalkboard. This last year we didn't use it so much, but the year before he used it quite a bit. And then he just starts writing. I oftentimes have to hold his hand in for a number of them until he starts getting that he has to put his pencil at the dot and then draw the letters. Then at the end, I always give him a box of crayons, let them color for a little bit, and he really likes this part. It's just kind of a little reward for all the hard work that he has to do up here. So it starts with capitals, then it goes to lowercase letters. It starts introducing some sight words and some sentence writing, and then eventually it goes into numbers as well. We haven't gotten to those pages, but we will. So that is Handwriting Without Tears, and that is level K, kindergarten. Next up is math, and for math I really use IXL. Again, I will pop a card up here and put a link in the description to my video about that. It's quite a controversial video, though, I have to say. Lots of comments that people do not like IXL. You know, I don't just plop him in front of IXL, walk away and expect him to complete the lessons. I sit there right with him. We work on it together. And it's just kind of a nice sequential way to just kind of work through different steps in math. And it just kind of helps us to keep our bearings straight so that we're just kind of sequentially working through math. I don't think that IXL is the be-all, end-all, but it is working well for us. It's his only schoolwork that he uses the computer for, and so he likes that. I also pick up often from Dollar Tree. Now this one wasn't, this is actually from Aldi. It was a little more expensive workbook, but I do also pick up from Dollar Tree lots of these little workbooks. The Dollar Tree workbooks will have maybe 10 to 15 pages in them. They'll all be on like the same theme. So I use lots of these with Joseph as well, just kind of fillers. Sometimes Peter might be working on something and I just need to keep Joseph at the table so that I don't lose him, and so I'll just rip one of these out quick and we'll just kind of go over it. This one actually includes lots of things, but specifically with Joe in this book, I'm doing the counting and the shapes. We also use a lot of games for math. I just pulled out a few that are favorites. Conezilla here is a fun one. You basically have to draw cards and put the numbers. Each of the ice cream scoops has a number on it and you have to get your scoops in order. Penguins on Ice has been this has been a favorite. Absolute favorite. It has little icebergs and then all these colored penguins, and you can do patterns, shapes. You can hook these little icebergs here together and do counting by tens. That's what we worked on the most this last year, and I'm happy to say that all the kids can do that now. So this crocodile is something I've had since Emily was just a little girl. We used it a little bit this last year. It is just a time. You put a card back here, and then when you slide it, it switches to a new time. You set your clock for the time that it shows here, open it up, and you can check. So it's kind of Montessori based, I guess, in that it's self-checking. This year we used Nancy Larson Science 1. It actually took us 2 years to get through this. I wasn't in a real big hurry with the Nancy Larson Science 1 because, to be honest, it was a little over Joseph's head and just about a tiny bit over Peter's head when we first started it. So this last year was our second year. We finished that up and we're actually going to use Nancy Larson Science 2 for this coming year. I like this program. I like that the lesson is scripted. As the parent, the teacher, you can read as much of this as you want. I usually kind of look ahead, and I don't always necessarily say every single word, but I do like that it is scripted because it just kind of keeps us on track and keeps us moving forward. My goal with homeschooling Joseph is not necessarily that we have to get through a particular amount of material in a year. My goal is to just have forward movement. I'm always trying to just march forward, and as long as we're marching forward, I feel like we're on the right track. That's why I like Nancy Larson, because it just kind of helps us just keep on marching forward. If you get the complete program, it comes with like little books that go with it. This one particularly was the tree guide, different pictures and things like that for the kids to look at. So I just kind of keep everything here. This was another book about trees that came with it. I'll give you a quick peek at the table of contents. I think there's a lot of life science here in Science 1. So we started with describing the life stages of human beings, observing trees. We went on to exploring sunlight, water, and soil, investigating animals and their habitats. This also comes with booklets that go with each chapter, and I just hole punched everything. We just put it into a binder here. I have to show you these because these are probably even more of my favorite if you like to do a little bit more of an unschooling kind of style. This is called the Cat in the Hat Learning Library, and I think we have probably about 30 of these books or so. and they're all different topics. So this one is all about birds. This one was all about butterflies. Here's one on seeds. Here's one on climates. This one is particular to the desert. We read through the book once, and then I always have a few worksheets that I printed out. I just went onto Pinterest, searched for butterfly, caterpillar, metamorphosis types of little projects. I printed out a little book that they could color. I think I printed out some other, just a couple little worksheets. I found a little game to play. We call it good. So that's science for the day. We just kind of, sometimes we'll even do that over the course of a whole week if I find a lot of different things that I want to do, or maybe some other books that I find that we'd like to read about that topic. And then each day that week we'll just do another activity. And again, it's always just something that I found from Pinterest that I just print off. So there's no real cost except for, paper and ink. And that has been a great thing. Also, I will incorporate art. I should say that. artprojectsforkids.org. It's a great website to go to. Let's say that, again, you're doing butterflies. You can just go onto her website, search butterflies, caterpillars, spring, something like that, and you'll find art projects. And so the kids have also had fun with that, where we've done like a little science and then just incorporate art right along with it. Let's move on to social studies. I have used these books over the years, different ones, first grade. I think I used a fourth grade one once with one of the kids by E.D. Hirsch Jr. and John Holdren. What your kindergartner needs to know. So what I did this year is I just went into the table of contents and I looked up the section. You hold that for me, sweetie? Thank you. I looked up the section on history and geography, and I just wrote out a curriculum to go along with this. So for example, world history and geography. There's always a little blurb to read, and then I just came up with some ideas on my own and wrote up a curriculum. So here's kind of how it started, and I just wrote each thing I wanted to do on a line, and then we just checked it off as we went. Sometimes we would do just one thing a day, and then we just checked it off as we went along. Sometimes we had only 5 minutes, and so we just read that, checked it off, called it good. Sometimes we had 15 minutes to work on social studies, so we would do a few more things. This was the section where they start learning about continents. What I did, started with Asia here. We read the pages in this book that were about Asia. Then we watched a movie about Asia. I just went to the library site and I found Tiki Tiki Tembo. Then we read different books, and I again would just use the library site. So we read these different books, all little just stories that were set in Asia somewhere, and we'd always locate where that place was. We'd go and locate it on our world map. And I had puzzles, so we would set the Asia, you can't make that noise, sweetie. We'd set the Asia puzzle, and I'd always read also about a saint that I found from that particular continent as well. Then we'd go on to the next one. It did take time though to write this all up, but it was worth it. I really think working through these, like what your kindergartner needs to know or what your first grader needs to know, they've been just super helpful to me, again, to just keep us moving forward, marching along, making sure that we're, having conversations about things and kind of not really missing something. And last, but certainly not least, is religion. This is our spine that we used for religion. It is Tell Me About the Catholic Faith. And this has been just an excellent book. It's broken down into 3 sections. The Bible, the Christian faithful, that's like church history, and then the Catholic faith, where it talks about all of our beliefs, and it talks about the sacraments and how those are celebrated. Lacey over at CatholicIcing.com, she actually has worksheets that go with every single chapter in this book. So here was Noah's Ark, and then it gives little pointers on her website of like what you should do on that page. Noah built the ark and put 2 of each animal on it, and then they were supposed to draw. We've been working through this slowly too, just doing 1 or 2 of the little sections per week. We always read from either the Picture Bible or the Rhyme Bible. This is just one of my favorites, Book of Saints. And we just read through here. Usually I'll print off a picture of a saint and have them color that picture as I read to them about that saint for that day. My battery is about to die here, so thank you so much for sticking with me through that whole long video. If you have any further questions or anything, please just leave those in the comments. I'd be happy to get back to you and answer questions about other curriculum types of things, or even if you have other questions about homeschooling a child with special needs, and particularly one with Down syndrome. So again, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll catch you all next time with a brand new video. Bye-bye.